Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Students, in this occasion we are going to talk about language choice in multilingual communities. There are three important topics: choosing your variety or code, diagnosia, code switching, and code mixing. Well, the first discussion is about choosing your variety or code. There are 4 points that we are going to discuss in this session. They are: what is your linguistic repertoire? The second is the domain of language use. The third is modeling variety or code. And the fourth is other social factors affecting code choice. What is your linguistic repertoire? This is a very crucial question that we have to understand. First of all, before we can answer this question, so we have to really understand the term of variety or code. Well, let me give the illustration before we talk about the meaning of the term variety or code. Well, as the member of a society, we must meet a lot of people and we should interact with them using a language. We may use different kinds of languages. We may also use different varieties of a language. For example, in Bogor, we can use Indonesian, Sundanese, Javanese, or other language. But we may also use formal or informal Indonesian or different level of Sundanese. So it means that code and our variety here may covers the term of language and others like dialect, etc. So in our community, we can find so many codes and varieties that people use in everyday life. We don't use the same variety to speak with different people. Okay, so variety or code is a broad term which includes different accent, different linguistic styles, different dialect, and even different languages, which contrast with each other for social reasons. And each community have their distinctive linguistic or verbal repertoire. A range of variety from people select according to the context in which they are communicating. Okay. Okay, now let's try to clarify the term linguistic repertoire. I will give you an example of the language repertoire performed by a woman. She is a mother who lives in a small village, and she acquires many language styles to communicate with other people in different kind of situation, like to a woman selling bread at the baker shop, bank manager, or to her grandchildren, to people in other places, and perhaps at many other situations. Okay, so the woman here must have acquired the linguistic repertoire. It consists of different kinds of codes that she can perform in many different kind of situations. How does the woman get this linguistic repertoire? Well, it's built up hearing the different varieties in use in the community one lives in. More formal varieties, for example, and especially the distinctive written varieties, may involve more conscious learning, but most varieties in a person's linguistic repertoire are acquired with little conscious effort. Okay, now the same situation can be applied in your own context. You may also try to think of the linguistic repertoire that you have. How large is your linguistic repertoire? Linguistic choices generally indicate people's awareness of the influences of social factors or other social dimensions. It is related to the term a domain. A domain involves typical interactions between typical participants in typical setting. Well, describing code choice in large speech communities may give the understanding of typical interaction, such as a typical family interaction. When we are talking about the typical interaction in family domain, so the interaction may be located in the setting of home, involving the typical participants such as family members, and typical topics would be family activities. By understanding the domain, we may identify the relationship between a code and its context. The table of domain of language use created by Fishman in 1972 gave us clear description of the use of certain code or variety in a certain domain. For example, in the table, in the family domain, the participant is parent, the setting is home, and the likely topic would be planning a family party. We may then put the most appropriate code in the domain. As given the example by Fishman, in Paraguay context, the most appropriate code uses Guarani, not Spanish. So in our context, we may also put the most appropriate code in the certain domain. Domain is clearly a very general concept which draws on three important social factors in code choice, such as participant, setting, and topic. However, it is a very simple model summarizing the norms of language use for the community. Modeling is important for description and comparison. In other words, we can say that modeling variety is needed because it gives at least two reasons. The first is it gives information about which variety is suitable or is considered appropriate in a certain domain. We will find that a certain variety is related to a certain domain, and we will find the norms. Besides, the second reason is we can compare different code choice in different speech community. The same domain but different code choice in different speech community. So it gives us the description of linguistic behavior of the communities. In this way, we can make analysis on a particular interaction performed by certain speech communities. This is another alternative for modeling variety or code choice based on social dimension. There are four clues here: the social distance skill, the status skill, the formality skill, and the referential and affective function. So for example, for the social distance skill here, the choices will really depend on how intimate someone who are talking. The more intimate someone is, so the higher solidarity of the code choice.